Hello. It is episode 4, I think. Yeah, no, we're off to a great start. It is episode 4. Hold on one moment. Let me just double check that it is episode 4. Yes. Yeah. Okay, let's just restart that. It is episode 4 of the Name One Player podcast. Really exciting, really fun. Thank you all for coming back. That's great news. I appreciate it. It has been a couple weeks since I filmed episode 3 with Jules. That was such a fun episode. I had such a great time. It was so fun chatting with Jules about the Reds and her experience on Twitter and just the inspiration behind where we are today with this podcast. So, thank you to all who listened and who gave your feedback on the episode. It was great. I always truly, genuinely appreciate hearing it. It makes me really happy. And I was going to say, even the mean comments, but you know what? I don't know if the mean people just aren't coming out and telling me their mean thoughts, or this podcast is just incredible and nobody hates it. Who knows? I don't know. But like I said, it's been, gosh, 3 weeks since I recorded that? Maybe more. I don't know. I've kind of lost all concept of time. I've been working a lot. I think I had 2 weeks of almost 80-hour weeks. But good news. Today was my last day of work until May 13th. What day is it today? Today's April 18th. So that's so exciting. I have quite a bit of time off. I'm hoping to get this out by Wednesday the 25th. If I don't, I mean, you probably will never hear this if it's not actually out on the Wednesday, because I'll probably just cut this out and pretend that I never said that. But today was my last day of work. A lot of really fun, exciting things happening in the next week. I'm picking my mom up from the airport tomorrow. So, super excited about that. I haven't seen her in 7 months since I moved to London. And then my mom's a huge Coronation Street fan, and that's filmed in Manchester. So, we're actually taking the train to Manchester for one day to go on the set of Coronation Street. And I'll be honest, I actually always kind of hated Coronation Street, but you know what? My mom's here. She wants to go, so we're gonna go. But it is kind of funny because it's the day before I run the London Marathon, which is on Sunday. So by the time this is out, I will have hopefully completed a marathon. It's starting to really hit me today. The last couple of days, I was like, oh no, I'm not nervous. I'm just excited. I'm just ready to get it done. I'm nervous now. I'm very nervous. I've ran like in a half marathon. I ran the Vancouver half marathon. And you know what? It was a good experience. I really enjoyed it. I wished that I had maybe kind of gone a little bit harder on my training and been a bit more competitive with my time. So that was the goal for training for the London Marathon. And I didn't do that. I trained, like, I definitely did train. I got the kilometers in. I ran, gosh, I guess I would have ran the distance of 3 half marathons. So, like, I'm prepared in that sense. Like, I could run a half marathon and be great and feel really good about it. I'm concerned for the other half of it. So, the longest run I got up to was 35 kilometers and just kind of figured that the last 7 would just be pure adrenaline, atmosphere. I'm not going to convert that to miles for you. Gosh, it's not even just the Americans, because in England they use miles too, which annoys me, but whatever. I'm as ready as I'm gonna be. It's Thursday night. Nothing I can do about it now. But I am excited. I'm happy to have my mom here for it. I'm happy that my friends are gonna be around. I'm running for Young Minds, and they have a tent supporting all the people who are fundraising for them. So I'm really excited for that. And then, super exciting, after that, a couple days, my mom and I were just gonna show her around London a bit. Then we're gonna go to Italy for 18 days. Is that right? I don't know. Almost 3 weeks. So I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a great time. Like I said, I've been working really crazy weeks. So it's just going to be really nice to not work and lay out in the sun. That's just like I cannot express to you how excited I am for that. And yeah, I mean, again, I'm gonna keep myself accountable and say that this is gonna be out by Wednesday, because then on Thursday I'll go to Italy. And then I can just chill, not kind of worry about the podcast. Not that I do ever worry about it, because like I mentioned before, this really is just so fun for me. It's something that I enjoy doing. I worked all day long, and now I just get to film and chit chat. This is actually a really great segue. I get to chit chat with a really incredible guest. And today we are going to be chatting with Kyla from Vikings Twitter. I shouldn't just put her in a Vikings Twitter box. Kyla is a big fan of the Canucks and the Lakers, and super fun because Kyla's actually from Vancouver, but we never met. We only know each other from Vikings Twitter, even though we lived very close to each other. Kyla and I both grew up in Vancouver, born and raised, and are both Minnesota Vikings fans, and are both miserable. Like the fact that we voluntarily chose this life. We don't even live near the Vikings, yet we do this to ourselves. And that's a really important bond that I really appreciate and have a lot of gratitude for. And to make matters worse, we're both Canucks fans. And we'll get into this with Kyla, but I really do feel like being a Canucks fan and being a Vikings fan, they have so many parallels of, just being not bad, but not not the best, but giving you hope because they're not bad enough to like not do anything, but they're just not good enough to win it. Never won a Stanley Cup, never won a Super Bowl. So, exciting news though. Tonight is the last game of the Canucks regular season, and they're heading to the playoffs. So, I'm super excited to chat with Kyla about the atmosphere in Vancouver, what the city's feeling, how we're feeling about the Canucks going into the playoffs, and also chat about the Vikings because I mentioned before my first episode, this is not a Minnesota Vikings podcast. Today it is. Today it is a Minnesota Vikings podcast, and I can't be happier. I even wore my Viking shirt for the occasion. I'm not sure if anybody's noticed. Probably nobody's noticed, but I'll usually just wear like black or just a neutral color when I'm doing the podcast because I'm trying to be neutral, I'm not trying to show my bias and anything except for today. Except for today. And maybe anytime that I interview somebody who's a Packers fan. Those are the days. Vikings. And anytime I'm trying to rub in somebody's face that I'm a Vikings fan, I'll wear my Vikings merchandise. But today's one of those days. Today's a great day. Super excited about it. And yeah, so without further ado, please say hi to the wonderful Kyla. All right, everyone, welcome Kyla. I'm so happy to have you on.
Hi, Nicole. How's it going?
It's going really well. Thank you for joining. To everybody listening, when Kyla hopped on here, I was so excited because in my intro, Kyla, I talk about how I'm wearing Vikings merch, and I never really do in my podcast. I try to not show my bias, except for today, and you're wearing your Canucks jersey. It's just It's perfect. We didn't even plan this.
No, totally accidental. But hey, we're both OG Vancouver Viking fans, Canuck fans.
Yes, yes. And I did talk about that too, about how, I guess, insane we are for having this life. Like being Canucks fans, living in Vancouver, it's already depressing enough.
Yeah,
But then you get the Vikings in on it for like why do we do this to ourselves?
I honestly don't know. Like, neither team has ever won it all. One of them has been to a championship. Neither of us were born. When the Canucks, the last two times they made it, they lost and the city rioted. So
Yes, yes. Were you around for the riots? Like what were you doing?
I actually was not. I was in North.
Oh, okay.
So, like, I was pretty close to downtown and I was crying at a bar. And then, like, and not like sobbing at this point. I was like scared because, like, the got killed in game 7. It was over so quick. But I remember
Yeah.
up at the TVs, like, not long after, and they're showing, like, it's like breaking news downtown Vancouver. And then it just turned into shame. Like, this is
Yeah.
so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, gosh, I guess I would have been maybe 16 at the time. I had no business being downtown,
oh
but
no.
I went downtown with some friends, yes. And because I thought we were gonna win, like I remember they had it on the big screens on like Robson Street, and I was convinced that I was about to witness a
Uh,
Stanley Cup win in Vancouver. Once it got to near the end of the game, I remember my phone was dying and people were getting mad and I knew it was about to go
yeah.
downhill. And I texted my mom and I was like, "Hey, look, you're probably going to see some crazy things. My phone is going to die. I'm going to be okay. Like I'm going to try to get out of here." But I lived in Port Moody at the time and I just remember transit just like stopped. Like you could not get out of the city no matter what you wanted to do and it was crazy.
Oh my gosh, your mom has been so worried about you. Like, I
Yeah.
things. I was like, oh my God, like everything on the news was insane and just you
Yeah.
could like hear it. Like it was Northland's like close enough to downtown where you could just like
Mm-hmm.
and texting friends who were down there. Like you're so lucky you're not down. I don't know how I'm gonna get home. Oh
Yeah. I mean, like I'm just glad that I was safe. All my friends were safe. We
yeah.
were, because again, looking back, it was a really messed up situation.
Nope.
But I guess this year, going in to the playoffs, I'll be honest, I haven't really been following the Canucks because the games with the time zone of me being in London are just not ideal for me.
Yeah.
But I wake up every morning and I see everybody on Instagram super happy. They've had an incredible season. The dreaded question, how are
Oh,
you feeling about it?
so I'm cautiously excited.
Yes.
You know, for the Canucks have been so bad for so long, minus that kind of fluky bubble year.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't hosted a playoff game in 9 years. So
Yeah.
we've been bad for a long time. I know better to like get my hopes up now. And like I'm very excited and I have faith in these guys and our young core, but for a lot of them,
Yeah.
they've never played playoff hockey in front of everyone or at all.
That's a
So,
good point.
but I don't know, who knows? I'm just happy like if Demko wasn't good to go for the playoffs,
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel so good, but if he can go back to his pre-injury form, like he can steal game. Quinn Hughes is a magician.
Yeah.
JT Miller, like you can always count on him to get a goal. And we've had other guys stand up, like my favorite Dakota Joshua. Like I
Mm-hmm.
understand now. I mean, where did he come from? Just felt like with the Canucks, no matter what the season kind of threw at them, they've been pretty lucky, knocking on wood right now with injury. Other than Denver,
Yeah.
if they have had a string of like a couple like poor games, I get the sense that all the players on the team really like hold themselves accountable, not even just the coach.
Yeah.
They're like, we haven't been good enough. We need to do this, and they're thirsty, like they want to win. And yeah, it just feels like if
Yeah.
they get themselves like after a string of like a couple poor games, they always seem to kind of bounce back. And even though they are pretty young, and a lot of the guys are super inexperienced, I feel like they're mature enough to kind of like I can kind of put my trust in them. But
Totally.
as a fan, I just feel like I'm just glad playoff hockey is back in Vancouver again. And
Yeah.
even if, this we don't go far this year, like, we've got so much to look forward to. So it's pretty cool.
So is that kind of what the atmosphere is right now? Like I miss Vancouver so much, but that's such a good point. Like playoff hockey, I mean, we haven't really had much of it to look forward to for the last quite a few years. But before, it was just every single year, it was just something so fun to look forward to. And it really brought the city together until it put the city up in literal flames. But I can't imagine being in Vancouver right now. Everybody must be so excited.
Yeah, everyone's so excited. It's nice, like, being at work or just being out and about and people are talking about the Canucks, not in like a depressing way. Like, everyone's happy. And, even I was talking to my cousin, she works at a pub, and she's like, during the winter, like on a random Tuesday or Wednesday, you wouldn't expect to be busy. And she's like, now, like, people are coming out and, spending money on a, kind of random weekday to like get friends together and go watch the games. And that's another aspect I forgot of, that kind of atmosphere.
Hmm.
And if you're not going to the games, but like supporting the local businesses while also
Yes.
with your friends and supporting the teams. Like, I remember when the cup run, that was awesome. I just loved it. Like, get through the day and like go to the bar with your friends. It's like, it was so much fun. And yeah, it's just been
Yeah.
long. And I think, yeah, everyone's like fiending for all of that excitement again.
Oh, I absolutely love that. Well, just make me miss Vancouver
Uh,
even more, but that's okay.
You'll be hear it though.
You know what? Though I'm super excited to talk to you about because I know they're playing Nashville, and the last time we played Nashville was in 2011. And I remember this clearly because the Green Men were beside the penalty box holding up the picture of Carrie Underwood whenever Mike Fisher was in the penalty box. But I didn't see it until just looking at a compilation of the Green Men on YouTube before us chatting. They were back this season.
They were. They looked at
That's
the
amazing.
but like, but yeah, I couldn't believe. Lo and behold, the Green Men are at a game.
No, I think about them like at least once every 2 months. They'll just pop in my head. I hope they make an appearance during this playoff run.
They should. A playoffs wouldn't be the same without the Green Men then, and
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But that really is a good point that you made just about, you might have a bit of a stretch of not so good games, but they turn it around. And it seems like the last couple of years, they just were not able to do that. It was like right off the bat. And I know there were so many issues with like management, all that kind of stuff. It was a shit show to put it, I guess, not nicely. There's something different about this season, and I mean, I do have a little bit of FOMO for not following along as closely as I normally would, but I'm excited to go into this playoff season and actually pay attention.
I feel like Rick Tocchet has made all the difference in the world. Like, but certain teams need certain coaches.
Definitely.
This is the guy for this team, and he just seems to have brought the best out in everyone. I saw on Twitter after some big win on a Saturday night, a bunch of the guys went out for beers at one of the bars downtown Vancouver, and Rick went with them and was having.
No way.
That's so cool because he obviously has the guys' respect in the locker room, and he's like, he'll be hard on them. Like, you can hear
Hmm.
reporters saying he was like getting mad in practice, being like, get over to the bench, like, you're not working hard enough. But, respect as their coach, but also like, we like you, like, cool enough to also be like, you guys deserve a beer. I'm going to join you. Well done. Like, enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Type of thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I feel like that dynamic is really so hard to find in any sport, in any professional sport. It's like if you can find that, it's just really that one magic missing piece. So
Totally.
let's
I think we
let's hope that's the case for the Canucks. I really do.
I think we can both think of a certain couple coach, specifically the last Vikings coach, who would not ever be drinking beer with the players.
Oh gosh, I couldn't even imagine Mike Zimmer sitting down with the team, sitting down with Kirk Cousins, and I can't even imagine Kirk Cousins sitting down and having a beer with. Actually, I feel like I could imagine that with
Why is
Kevin O'Connell.
beer like at the fire pit, like in his yard? But
Good
my
point. Good point. Well, I mean, and we touched on it now, but I did talk a little bit about in my intro just the parallels. It really is so strange. The parallels that the Minnesota Vikings and the Vancouver Canucks have.
Yeah.
And I don't think people talk about that enough.
There are times both teams have been around for more than 50 years and neither team has ever had a number one draft pick.
Oh my God. That's shocking.
And
It's
yeah,
so painful.
because you know what? Another thing they have in common, I feel, is that when they're bad, like they're never bad enough. They're just like very
Yes.
mediocre. They're just very
Yes.
yeah.
But then they're good enough to not be terrible. They're never the worst, but then they're never good enough to actually be incredible,
No.
but it's good enough to get your hopes up
Yes.
and then crush them.
Like even the last couple of years, like with the Canucks, like there was times where you're like, okay, like we've won a few games. Like playoffs aren't totally out of the question, even though deep down you know like they're out of the question, but that
Yeah.
still technically could for like most of the season, even though you know they're not. And it was like that with the Vikings this year. Like
Yeah.
the lowest death in the world. They're
So, it was so bad.
people. It's oh my god. It's just
But we held on to hope to the
I
very last second. And you would think that we'd learn,
yeah.
but for some reason it's not clicking.
No, it's not. Like I fans, and I'm sure you're the same, where it's like, oh, you know, I'm done with this team. Like, I'm divorcing them. But, like, I know better. I know I'm going to be back cheering for them. I'm never not cheering for them. I know I just won't ever stop. So I don't even pretend like that's
You
going to.
know, I think that that is a huge part of this life is like actually finding that acceptance. And
Yeah,
then once you have it, life is a lot easier.
exactly.
Well, I mean, I guess chatting about the Vikings and about the draft picks, never having a number one, how are you feeling going into the draft?
You know, I'm feeling pretty good. Whatever is going to be is going to be. I mean, if we trade
Yeah.
up, that's cool. We're going to get a good quarterback. If we're
Yeah.
not able to trade up, I do feel like there will be a few quarterbacks still at our spot.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Penix could. I know some people are saying like you know he could go higher, but I feel like he might even be there. Like just because of
Hmm.
injury issues, I feel like teams might pass on him. But I do get the feeling we're gonna trade up. I
Yeah, me too. Me too.
it's so brutal. I'm actually in a meeting. Just like I'll be in a meeting during the draft. Like
Oh, no way.
probably miss the first hour. Normally that doesn't matter, but I'm like, oh my gosh, did the Vikings
Yeah.
trade up? Like I won't I won't know. It'll be
Do
crazy.
you think it's gonna be like actually on the clock, like mid draft, Vikings are trading up?
I don't know. What do you think? Because I know today New England, like a New England report has been like, oh, New England's like open for business.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I think just, I don't know. I mean, personally, for my own sanity, I would, well, also to my own sleep schedule, the draft is going to be on at like 3 in the morning
Horrible.
or something like that. And I am getting on a plane to Italy at like 8 a.m. So
Okay.
I'll be awake. But actually, you know what? It might even be later than that. I'm not too sure. I do know there's quite a few Vikings fans in the UK who are hoping to do some sort of watch party for it, but the timings really are killing me here, but that's okay.
Well,
um,
so nice if
you
they.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. It would be so nice if they make the trade. If they do before, so at least you know you have something worth. Like,
Exactly, exactly. And I mean, I'm quite optimistic that we'll trade up just with the way that Kwesi's mind works.
mhm.
I don't see us not trading up to get a quarterback in the position that we're currently in.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping it'll be crazy. I'm hoping that it'll be fun. I'm hoping that it'll be exciting, but I'm hoping that it'll be done before I go to bed that night.
I don't blame you. I feel like the anxiety will go down a bit if we make that trade beforehand. But can you
Yeah.
imagine Vikings Twitter if it like goes down at the last minute?
I'm excited for it no matter what. I am curious though, what were your thoughts about Kurt?
I love Kirk, and I did not like him at first. I really warmed up to him to the point where I'm a bit of a Kirk stan. He's so wholesome. And I do feel like part of the reason why I was like such a stan, he was getting so unfairly treated by so many fans and
Yeah.
the media, probably until last year when he balled out and the Vikings had a really good record and he had so many game
Hmm.
winning drives. Everyone's like, okay, this guy has been doing well. He kind of let his personality sort of shine and he became pretty
Yeah.
cool. And I feel like, people kind of gave him sort of more respect then. I kind of wanted the Vikings to re sign him, but I still wanted them to draft
Yeah.
for the future because coming off of, an injury like he had with his Achilles and his age,
Hmm.
it's like we need to worry about the future. Even if he was healthy, we need to worry about the future. So while I was sad to see him go, just because I did get kind of attached to him, for the contract he got in Atlanta, like I'm very happy for him.
Yeah.
Good for you, but like I'm very glad the Vikings did not
Yes.
make that give him that contract.
Yes, exactly. I'm the exact same way. I honestly, I did think that we would have Kirk for
Too.
one more season. I didn't think that he was quite ready to leave Minnesota. It always makes me laugh when people are analyzing this stuff as if we've had deep chats with Kirk. But like you said, with his injury and with how he was doing the last couple seasons, I really did think that he had more to give to Minnesota.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I am ready to move on. I'm ready for the future, and I'm so glad that we did not pay him that amount of money.
oh my gosh, that's a lot. Good for him. But yeah, when I saw
Yeah.
it too, because I'm the same as you, that being his last game and the way, he's playing like an
Hmm.
MVP before he went down, and I was like, that can't be it. That can't be it. And then when I remember I was in my staff room at work and I was like, oh my God, he's gone. And then as soon as I saw
Yeah.
it, cool, Kirk, good luck to you.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Best of luck, Kirk. Good for you. I mean, more money for that JJ contract that
Yeah,
will eventually come down,
I know, because we're gonna have to pay him so much money.
especially depending what goes on this season. I hope I never see Justin Jefferson in any other jersey than a Minnesota Vikings jersey, but I mean, he's only going to get better, and
Yeah,
teams are only going to have more money to throw at him. So
like
let's
he's
hope that it all trickles down to Kirk Cousins leaving and Justin Jefferson getting paid.
it's crazy. He still got 1K, missing several games and having like the most awful quarterbacks throwing him to him when he came back. He makes lemonade out of lemons. Like he
You
so
know what? As we talk about how miserable being a Vikings fan is, I guess that is the payoff. We have Justin Jefferson. It makes life easier. That's for sure.
he deserved Justin Jefferson. I whenever I see anything online of like like the Vikings are gonna trade him, I'm like, shut your dirty mouth. Like, I get like angry, like I feel rage.
Well, yeah, because I remember the tweets of like when Kirk, there was the news that he was going to Atlanta. There were some people being like, well, now JJ's next. Like, he's not going to want to stay with the Vikings. And looking back, it's like, I'm sure he was well involved in these conversations. I'm sure it was not a blind side to Justin Jefferson. I think it is quite obvious that this team is building around Justin Jefferson and they would be silly to not do that.
Exactly.
But I mean, that's a great point, just how absolutely hilarious. And when I say hilarious, I mean, I don't even know the proper word for it. I was going to say insane, but that's not the right word. Of how Vikings Twitter is.
Oh, it's crazy. Because I have to ask, like, what's more crazy? Because, like, sometimes I think Vikings Twitter is more crazy, but, like, Canucks Twitter's literally insane, too.
You
They-
know what? I don't really dip my toes into it too much. Mainly, I'll look at Canucks Twitter when they play the Wild,
Yeah.
and then I kind of see that crossover
Yeah.
there. It's funny, like I'll see people that I follow through Vikings Twitter tweeting about the Minnesota Wild, and then I'll see them like arguing with Canucks fans on Twitter, and I'm like, whoa, this is a crazy crossover. But yeah, no, I remember kind of seeing it a few years ago when things were really bad. And like those guys were in a dark place. Those
Oh,
people on Twitter were not happy.
no, it's so bad. at Vikings Twitter as well. I find Vikings Twitter mostly funny though. Um,
Yes.
I don't know. I try not follow like anyone who's like super mean or anything like that.
Hmm.
So like everyone to me is just kind of funny, but
Funny. Well, it's a good point that you say that because like the whole idea behind this podcast is that like I don't want it to just be a football podcast. I
yeah,
definitely have most of my knowledge in when it comes to the NFL and when it comes to the Vikings, but I want to be able to talk to women from all different sports fandoms. Really would love to chat with more people who are involved with the NHL. But I said in my intro too, you're a fan of the Vikings, the Canucks, and the Lakers. Did
yeah.
you notice a difference between the attitudes of men on these different fandoms?
Not really. I don't. I honestly feel like there's so many guys in all sports. Like I don't follow as many like Laker fans as I do Canuck fans. Or
Okay,
with as much as I do Canuck fans and Viking fans, and it's probably for the even more Viking fans. But I feel like people I interact with are super respectful and funny and nice.
great.
I feel like any negative, people being like, get back in the kitchen, it comes from any sport. And I don't really
Yeah,
specific
definitely.
with, but I like rarely have I ever had like an actual Viking fan or Canuck fan like just be like say mean things just because I'm cheering for a team.
Most people are going to be respectful and
Yeah.
kind and just like share the same passion as we have for sports, and those are the people that like I want to give my energy to. The rest, it's just not even worth the time.
No, it's like I've had people say nasty things to me, and it usually kind of like goes away after a couple of comments. But I think it was like a couple years ago. It wasn't last Viking season, but it was the season before. But I can't remember his name actually, or his account. It was like purple something. But I was on a podcast with Mike Casalino and this guy,
Yes.
and for whatever reason, I must have just like pissed him off, like saying something after a Vikings game, and he went ballistic. He was like calling me. I know I say like a lot. I do. Sorry. Whatever.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, who
Same.
cares? Whatever. But he was just attacking me personally so much, and he just wouldn't stop, and they were so belligerent. It almost felt like he was on drugs or drunk or something.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't sound like mentally all
Oh,
there to just.
and I thought they were kind of funny, but I was like, "Are you okay, dude?" And after that, like a bunch of other people were like, "You need to log off. Like you're not okay." And then he like deleted his account, and he's not been back on since.
Wow, 2 seasons ago and he's still reflecting upon his actions. Good for him, as he
Yeah,
should.
totally.
As he should.
That's the worst I dealt with, though. I can,
Oh
yeah,
man. Yeah, I mean, thankfully, I feel like I've kind of got it down to a science of just not interacting. Like, if anything, I really like to tweet things and just never reply to them.
that's
Just let it blow up and just never interact with them, never give them what they want. I
no,
mean, sometimes Twitter can be fun to have a back and forth with, but and again, this is like why it would be so fun to connect with other people, other women who, tweet about sports and other leagues, other teams, all that kind of stuff. But just to kind of see what the back and forth is like, because for Vikings, it's either funny,
hmm
people can either laugh about it and it's very lighthearted, very fun, or it's not.
yes,
It's
for sure.
or it's not at all.
Which is sad because at the end of the day, we're all cheering for the same team. We're all either
Yeah.
we're miserable, but it's funny. I felt like a lot of, and hopefully it kind of improves this year. I'm sure it won't because at the end of the day, we're all going to have a new quarterback to like feel some way about, starting
Yeah.
one this year. But I felt like a lot of the nastiness were people arguing about Kirk and
Yeah.
like Kirk haters, like attacking, people who loved him and vice versa. And it's just like, dude, we're all cheering for the same team. Like, and as long as Kirk's
Yeah.
on my favorite team, I'm gonna cheer him on and, hope he does well, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? It's funny that you say that because how long have you been tweeting for? Quite some time, right?
Yeah, yeah, like several years for sure.
Okay, so I had Sal Spice on a couple episodes ago,
Yeah,
and she said pretty well the same thing that like a lot, I mean, of course there's always going to be like nasty negative people like that. That's always been the case, but she really noticed a pretty big change when Kirk Cousins became quarterback, and maybe sports Twitter became a bit more popular at that time, who knows,
yeah,
but the negativity and the just general rudeness and people becoming so comfortable in being very unkind for no reason other than just saying that they are passionate about a team. She feels like it really started around the time with Kirk Cousins.
yeah, that makes sense. It's all so strange because, like, who cares? Why would it
Yeah.
so if like why I can't imagine like if you were to say, um, I miss Case Keenum and he is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen, and like he is the GOAT and he's better than Brady. I would be like, you know what? Cool. Like, why would I hate you if you felt that way? It's just like weird how people like really like seem to get so much hate for someone just because they have a differing
Yeah.
on a player. That player doesn't even know you exist. They don't care. Like you're talking about the
They
Brady
really do not care.
boys like defending their guy online. It's like why did it's just like Kirk Cousins was is so polarizing because he really got people
Hmm.
to just fly off the handle about him.
Well, it makes me wonder too, like these people who will jump down somebody's throat, like the one that you mentioned, just getting like so belligerent for no reason, or just because they had a different opinion than you. Like these people, I imagine, hold down regular jobs. They
Yeah,
have families, they have friends. Like, is this how they interact in real life too? And I'm not too sure what's worse if they don't and they just act that way online, or if they act that way all the time and they think that's normal and okay.
I don't know.
10, 15, 20, 30 years down the road, there's going to be studies on Twitter and the fights that people would get into and just like what the hell happened?
Imagine if you're like 90 years old and you like can go and read things from like your 20s and 30s and like all the dumb little like
Wow.
wobbles. Like that
I
would
didn't even
be
think about that. I've
yeah,
never thought about that.
yeah.
Like, yeah, being 90 years old and being like, "Hey, do you want to look at your Vikings Twitter account and see see the crazy things that you tweeted during a game?"
Like the cringe things probably. It's like how Facebook has memories of like it's like things I said when I was like 21. I'm just like, ew. But yeah,
Gosh,
I'll feel
that's so funny.
Vikings Twitter. Oh my god.
I mean, I will be honest too. I've missed a lot of what's gone down during the off season. I've logged on twice, like 2 days after big things happen. I missed Greg Joseph being released. Had no idea about that on the Packers. I opened Twitter and then see like from 2 days ago, and I'm like, oh, okay, that took a second. I'm now terrified to, maybe not terrified's the word. I just don't even want to give energy to the Packers, but I'm not looking forward to him kicking against us and winning games from his kicks. So that's really going to sting. And then Aaron Jones. I missed that. I logged onto Twitter and he was doing his like little press conference thing, doing the skull clap, and I was like, sorry, this man's a Viking?
Yeah, right? It's crazy. Like how?
It always makes me laugh though, the off season and the swaps that the Vikings and the Packers will have. They
Oh,
will always be hilarious, and I almost just wonder if everybody's just giggling in their little offices.
oh, 100. I feel like Jones was like so insulted by the Packers. They're probably like very, very happy to go to their team's rivals just to like
Yeah.
their face after that. I don't blame them at all.
Well, I mean, I'm excited. We definitely needed a good running back, and I mean, now that he's a Viking, I can say I think he's a very talented guy. I think he's a very good person to have on our team.
Totally, totally. Yeah, like I mean, it's nice for, Ty Chandler too to have sort of a, veteran dude who can do it because he showed glimpses, but we need more than what we have now. And Alex Madison, I wish him well because he's such a nice guy, but that was
Yeah,
that
he
was
wasn't it.
no, no, that was so frustrating. I know one of my friends who I watched a bunch of like most Vikings games with, he was like,
Yeah.
God, you're such a hater. You're so mean. I'm like, he is not good.
So,
He can't
are you watching? Are you using your eyes?
just be mean. I was like, he literally can't do anything.
Oh,
But we
well,
don't have to worry about that anymore.
are you planning to go to Minnesota for any of the games? Do we have Seattle on?
I think
Like, are we playing Seattle this year? I don't even know.
I think we might be. I can't. No, we are. And of course, we're in
In
Seattle.
Seattle?
It, it's so bad because when I'm like, we should not as Vancouverites.
We,
We'd be so happy that
I
Seattle,
know,
like we are often in Seattle, but we always live
never win there,
at
never.
ever.
And it's always like heartbreaking losses
Yeah.
too. Like bad.
My first game, I was like four. I can't remember. I think it was like 13 or 14. It was when the that stadium just opened, and I got tickets
Okay.
in the season, and I got tickets for my birthday. And Sean Alexander scored 5 touchdowns in the first half against the Vikings, and I was crying in my Randy Monsters. I was like, "Oh my god, this is so awful!" I've seen it 5 or 6 times since in Seattle, or maybe like 5 times. Lost it.
Yeah. Oh no. See, it's because we're Canucks fans too. Like they're like, no, no, no. Nobody in Vancouver is going to enjoy their
And
life as a sports fan.
no,
Like if that's our curse for choosing to be Vikings fans. It's like,
that,
no, you'll never see them win 2 hours away from your house. It just
no,
won't happen.
no. Why would life be that nice to you?
You know what though? I am excited because they're playing a London game
Yes.
here. They're going to be the home team, which is super exciting. And I wasn't expecting it because they played the Saints, what, 2 seasons ago in London?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was not expecting them to come back so quickly, and there were some whispers about it. And I was like, no, you guys are all wrong. Like, this is just not going to happen. And I was happy to be
Mm.
proven wrong. I'm
Yeah.
super excited to see them.
Do they know what stadium they're playing in yet?
Yeah, it's going to be at Tottenham Hotspur.
Oh,
So,
ugh.
yeah, I'm super excited. I work at one of the arenas here. They don't play sports at this arena, it's a music arena. But everybody seems to kind of have connections. So I have connections at Wembley, but not quite
Oh,
Tottenham yet. But
oh,
I have some time to make it work. So anyone listening to this, if anybody knows anybody who works at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, please let me know because I would like sideline passes, please.
yeah. You got it.
Oh, amazing. Well, so I have a question for you, and I've been asking every woman who's been on so far, and they've had pretty funny answers for me.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole name of this podcast, Name One Player, came about because I cannot even count the times that I've had men, and I don't want this to be a whole women versus men kind of thing, but I've never had a woman ask me to name one player on a sports team. So we will generalize here. And men, I can't count how many times they've asked me to name one player. So I'm asking you, Kyla, do you have a favorite time that a man has asked you to name one player on any team that you support?
You know what? I have to say, not in recent years have I been
Good.
that question. I must surround myself with like really nice guys, or
Good for you.
but I
I'm so happy to hear that.
totally. I did as a kid. Like I remember being, and it was probably even before I was even a Vikings fan. Like I kind of started cheering for them when I was in like grade 8. But when I was
Hmm.
like grade 4, 5, 6, 7, I was like obsessed with the Canucks. I definitely remember being, and it still sticks out in my head, like being at my friend's house and a cousin, like older guy cousin. I was like, oh, the Canucks were on or something. The Canucks, and he was like, you can't even name another player, and I was I don't know, I probably didn't even get like sexism yet, but I was like, why not? It's not about like sports teams, but like it's so pathetic that it's hilarious. I was on a
Let's
date
hear it.
I was on a dating app a few years ago, and I was talking to this guy who happened to be like he went to a high school that was like a neighboring high school of mine, and we had a bunch of mutual friends. And
Okay.
he was like, "Oh, do you play any sports?" And I was like, at this time, still playing soccer as an adult. Like I've played soccer
Okay.
for a very long time. Like I
Yeah.
obviously know about soccer. I've played it for years.
Yeah.
He literally asks me, "Do you know what offside is?" I was like, "What?"
Oh my God. I'm sorry, what was going through this man's head?
I don't know. He asked me,
That is shocking.
shocking. I thought he was joking. I was like, are you being serious? And he's like, well, a lot of people don't know what offside is. And I was like, but they play. And he's like, well, yeah, I was just asking. And I unmatched him. I was like, ew,
I
no,
was gonna say, I hope that you did not meet up with this
no.
person.
And then it gets even better. He actually had the audacity to like message one of his friends and be like, oh, I matched with this girl. Like, I think you're friends with her, Kyla. And like, he got his friend to like slide into my IG DMs or something. Who like I haven't seen him in years, and he was like, "Hey, so I'm messaging because you matched with my friend and you unmatched him, but he really wants to meet up with you." And I was like, "Do you want why?
No, I'm
Why?
stunned.
Right?" And then when I told him, I was like, "Your friend asked me if I played any sports, and I said I play soccer, and he asked me what offside." And then
Wow.
yeah, and he was like, "Okay, that's insane." Like that was the end of the conversation. He was like, "I have no defending that."
I'm sorry, my jaw has been on the floor since you said that. That's wow. That is a lot to because it's like one of two things. And I mean, I was gonna say maybe he was flirting.
Yeah,
Maybe, or any man listening to this, please, for the love of God, do not think that any girl finds that fun, cute,
no,
flirty. It's not. It's ridiculous. But I do think he was genuinely asking you
yeah,
that, which is crazy.
so crazy, so embarrassing, so cringe, so stupid. But honestly, it's funny.
I feel like I've said this every episode. It's like if you don't laugh, you're gonna cry.
Totally dumb comments or questions. Like, I mean, they're not going to make us not like sports. It's like, oh no,
Exactly.
insulting question. Like, I don't care. You're a dork. Get out of here.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, unfortunately, I will always have content for this podcast because unfortunately, it doesn't seem like men are understanding that they should not do these things.
I know. But yeah, you're right. You will always have a podcast. There's always content.
Yeah, which is sad. And I mean, part of me would love it to just stop. Love the misogyny, love just the men not thinking. I would love for it to stop. But I also love chatting with women about these kind of things.
So funny. I love hearing these stories too. They're so good.
Oh man. Well, Kyla, this has been so fun. It's been so nice chatting with you and hearing a Canadian accent. I miss it so much. And I will be chatting with you throughout these playoffs. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Oh my
I
God.
am so excited. What are
Fun.
your plans? The first game's Saturday?
It's gonna be Sunday, I guess, because the Canucks play tonight. They're
Okay.
Sunday. No, I think
Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, because saw, I guess they start on Saturday, and I was kind of thinking, I was like, that's like really not a quick turnaround. But I guess even Sunday is not really like a good amount of time either.
yeah,
But
for sure. But yes, only a few days away. It's gonna be so fun.
do you have any plans? Just relaxing at home? You going out to watch? What's the vibe?
Like because it's been so long, I want to go out. So gotta hit up my friends and see what they're doing. And yeah, that would be super fun.
Well, if we get to the finals, just don't let anybody burn any police cars, okay?
I'll guard those buildings with my life.
Do it. Do it. Okay, Kyla, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
I've had so much fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. All right. Thanks. Thank you so incredibly much to Kyla. That was so much fun talking about my two favorite teams in the whole wide world, the Minnesota Vikings and the Vancouver Canucks. I am so excited for the Canucks. Like now after having that conversation, oh my gosh, I'm honestly, what time is it? Maybe I'll watch the game tonight. No, it's too late. It's 11 o'clock now. And so what? That means wait, is the game on now? No. No, that confused me. It's only like 4 o'clock there, 3 o'clock there. I don't know. No, anyways, I think it's time for me to go to bed pretty dang soon. But I'm excited to wake up and check the score. I'm in like full on Canucks playoff hockey mode along with the rest of Vancouver. I'm there. I'm right there with y'all. I'm so excited. And I hope we don't go out the first round. That'll be sad. And I do hope that we see the green men. I hope anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, please just do yourselves a huge favor and go on youtube.com and search Green Men Vancouver Canucks. I feel like their era was like 2009 to like maybe, I don't know, 2013. 2011 was the chef's kiss, the height of it all. But I miss them. And I hope that they are gearing up their little moves beside the penalty box. It's going to be really fun. Anyways, I'm going to go to bed because, like I said, I'm waking up early tomorrow. Well, actually, to be honest, I'm waking up early tomorrow because Taylor Swift's new album is dropping at 5 a.m. my time, and I will be getting up to listen to it. So I'm gonna go to bed now and get up for that. And yeah, see my mom tomorrow. Everyone say hi to her. And please wish me luck for this marathon and send me good vibes that I finish it. And also send me good vibes for Italy. I can't wait to come back. I do plan to record an episode with a super exciting guest when I come back. But again, won't be for a few weeks. So thank you for your patience while I go on vacation. All right, everybody, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful next couple of weeks. And yeah, I'll miss you all, but just know I'll be having a good time. I promise you that. All right, thanks, everyone. Bye.